Where the wind carries memory, not noise. Where the silence is so deep, you hear your own heartbeat. These aren't the cities you've heard of. These are the stories nature wrote and never told. I set out not to discover new places, but forgotten ones. And what I found was a side of America most never see. Let me show you. Let me take you into the unseen. In New Mexico, past the postcard shots of Santa Fe, lies the alien beauty of Bisti Denazin Wilderness. Sandstone hoodoos twist like something out of dreams or nightmares. No trails, no signs. Just raw land and a sky so wide it could swallow you whole. Every step feels like you're walking on a different planet. In Oregon, the painted hills bleed color in layers, red, gold, gray, each a time capsule millions of years old. They don't shout for attention, they just exist, silent, patient, watching. In Colorado, I didn't stop at Rocky Mountain National Park. I went further, to Great Sand Dunes National Park, where mountains of sand rise against snow-covered peaks. You climb, and it feels like the sky keeps moving away. And when you reach the top, the view isn't a scene, it's a feeling. In Utah, everyone knows Zion, but no one talks about Snow Canyon State Park, where volcanic rock and red cliffs hold stories the crowds forgot. Here, the wind whistles through lava tubes, and desert flowers bloom defiantly in cracks of stone. I sat on a high ridge at sunset, and time slowed until it disappeared. In Tennessee, beyond the trails of the Smokies, is Savage Gulf, a gorge filled with mystery, water, and songbirds. I followed no one's path. I just listened to the sound of waterfalls falling like secrets, to the hush of pine needles beneath my boots. In Texas, south of Marfa's Lights, Big Bend Ranch State Park stretches into infinity. Jagged rocks, dust roads, and canyons where echoes go to live. This is not a park for comfort. It's a place for presence, for stillness, for awe. In Montana, the masses flock to Glacier, but I found myself in Bitterroot Valley, where rivers weave through mountain shadows and the only traffic is elk. At night, the stars aren't lights, they're a language. In Michigan, I kayaked the shoreline of Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore, cliffs painted by minerals, water as clear as glass. I drifted into caves where silence settled like mist, and for once, the only thing that echoed was peace. In Idaho, I stepped into the eerie stillness of Craters of the Moon. Lava fields, black stone, quiet. It's called a monument, but it feels like a memory of Earth before humans. In Florida, far from the beaches, I floated down the Juniper Run in Ocala National Forest. Crystal water, dense canopy, a world in slow motion. Here, turtles slide into water like ripples of thought, and birds glide so silently you wonder if they're real. In South Dakota, past the carved faces of Rushmore, lie the Black Hills Spearfish Canyon. Waterfalls hidden in limestone walls, trees glowing golden in fall, and a road that curves like a question you want to keep asking. In California, I traded Yosemite's crowds for the solitude of Montana de Oro. Sea cliffs crumble into surf, eucalyptus trees lean like they're listening, and the ocean, endless, pulsing, alive, speaks in a language only your bones understand. In Washington, I hiked the Enchanted Valley in Olympic National Park. It's called the Valley of 10,000 Waterfalls, but I only needed one stream tumbling through old-growth giants to remember that I too am part of this rhythm. In Nevada, beyond the neon, lies the quiet fire of Valley of Fire State Park. Red stone arches, petroglyphs older than memory. At dawn, the rock glows, not from light, but from legacy. In Georgia, the mossy quiet of Cumberland Island felt untouched by centuries. Wild horses grazed among the ruins of old mansions, and the sound of waves was the only reminder I hadn't slipped into a dream. In Vermont, I walked the ridgelines of the Northeast Kingdom, where each step is a postcard, but none of them repeat. Maples shimmer red and gold, and the air, crisp, clean, honest, feels like it knows your name. In Arizona, I skipped Antelope Canyon. I went to White Pocket, where rocks swirl like frozen waves. Orange, white, rose, gray, a canvas nature painted with no audience in mind. And that's what makes it art. In North Carolina, I found the hush of Linville Gorge, the Grand Canyon of the East. But there are no souvenir shops here, only cliffs, wind, time, and a view that stretches deep into the soul. In Alaska, I didn't take a cruise. I walked into Wrangell St. Elias National Park, the largest in America and the least visited. Glaciers, mountains, silence thicker than snow. The wild here doesn't want to be seen. It wants to be respected. In Wyoming, past the geysers of Yellowstone, I camped in the Wind River Range. Granite peaks pierced the sky. Lakes, like mirrors, reflected stars. And in that silence, I remembered how small I am and how beautiful that is. In Louisiana, I drifted through the Atchafalaya Basin, cypress trees rising from black water. Spanish moss swayed like slow music, and the only thing louder than the frogs was my own breath. In Hawaii, away from resorts, I hiked into the heart of Waimea Canyon, the Grand Canyon of the Pacific. Rain painted the red cliffs green, and waterfalls whispered down walls too steep to touch. In Maine, I stood on Bold Coast cliffs in Cutler. No fences, no signs, just the Atlantic, roaring, timeless. This is where land ends and something older begins. In Kentucky, I explored Red River Gorge, arches and sandstone bridges older than the myths we tell. The trails are tangled, the woods are deep, but if you walk long enough, you'll find something more than a view. You'll find yourself. In Oklahoma, I watched sunrise light up the granite domes of Wichita Mountains. Buffalo roamed the plains, hawks traced circles in sky, and the land stretched so far it felt like it was exhaling. In Missouri, beneath the Ozarks, I floated through 11-Point River. No motors, no noise, just current and current and current. This isn't adrenaline, it's renewal. In Minnesota, I followed trails through Superior National Forest, where lakes sparkle like broken mirrors. Moose leave prints in the mud, and when it rains, it smells like memory. In Illinois, I stood at the edge of Garden of the Gods in Shawnee Forest. Rocks piled high like forgotten cathedrals. Below, mist curled through trees, and the world, for just a moment, felt right again. These are not the places you hear about, but they're the places you feel. They don't ask for attention. They offer perspective, stillness, wonder. This is not a list of destinations. It's a map of moments. And now you've walked with me through them. Unseen America, still wild, still sacred, still waiting.